order for the Executive Committee, Brooklyn Community Board 9, for November 2025. I want to thank everyone for joining this evening. If we could have the members of the Executive Committee please introduce yourselves.
I'm Kat B. I haven't been here for 2 months because I was upstate doing an internship. I'm back. Yeah, I think that's all I have.
Okay.
I'm Felice Robinson, second vice chair of the executive board.
I'm Linda Watson-Lori, the secretary of CBA.
Fred Baptiste, Chair.
Ethan Noble, first vice chair.
Okay. Unfortunately, our treasurer is not going to be able to attend this evening, but hearing the names called, we have a quorum, so thank you very much. All right, so we are now going to go into item 2, our committee chair check-in. Who wants to go first?
Everybody should go first.
I will.
All right, here we go. Brave soul, brave soul.
Okay, we're having a economic development mixer for small business owners, December 2nd. This will be in all of the correspondence from your local community board 9. It is at Trove on Rogers Avenue. I would like to get approved $300 to pay them since they're not going to be open for anybody else for those 2 hours, and with that they will provide a snack. So at the meeting I need to fill out the budget request thing today or tomorrow, send it back, and then hopefully we can approve it on Thursday.
Okay. Yeah, so
Great.
Can I get one of those copies as well?
Yes, you can. And also, we are stealing your idea from our mixer that we had. And we're doing the same thing except for with business names. And yeah, it's gonna be really cute. And Rohan designed a really cute little thing that we're gonna fill out while we're there. No offense to your Excel sheet, that was also adorable, but yeah, everybody's
who
like,
doesn't love Excel?
he's really good at doing these sorts of things. So, yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Do you want one of these?
Ma'am?
Okay, so members of the exec, any questions? Kat? Police?
I'm just happy I'll be for this one.
Linda, you good?
And for this one.
You can have your questions?
No, none from me.
Okay.
Is that coming?
Thank you.
All right, so we have the one action item, that's the approval of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let get with Dante in terms of budget, and if there's any payments that need to be made, and he'll coordinate that, and that'll be up for the vote. So
Okay.
we'll put that as part of the agenda.
Okay, great.
So look at that.
With the next.
Okay, so just throw on that. All right, any other chance to have any questions? Okay, hearing none, thank you very much. Land use.
Okay, so, we went over some old business, there's some news. A lawsuit was filed on the 7399 Empire Boulevard rezoning by Alicia Boyd and LaShawn Ellis, against the Department of City Planning and the City Council. The issue is that they didn't do a full environmental impact statement, because there was a negative, on the shorter version, which is the assessment, they said that there was not enough of an impact to go ahead and do a fuller investigation on a number of environmental issues. So the judge issued a temporary restraining order on that. It's on through November. So we'll find out more after that and let you guys know. On the ballot measures, which is something that we talked a lot about before, these have passed citywide. So that obviously has consequences. Community Board 9 would not be on the fast track list for affordable housing because we've built a lot of affordable housing. However, there's a potential that more market rate housing could be approved in this district if the City Planning Commission decides that that's appropriate. We still have the ability as a community board to hold public hearings and to issue an advisory recommendation. So in that sense, we are now the last line of defense. So for those who are interested in this issue, becomes very important to engage with the community board. So also, the final rules around implementing the ballot measures have not actually been written yet. This is one of the issues that we had with putting them on the ballot in the first place, that, we don't actually quite know what it was that we voted on. But agency rulemaking does require public hearings, so we expect that public hearings will be announced. You can let us know, Dante, when those come out, and hope everybody goes to the public hearings and gives their input, because this is really where the rubber meets the road. We talked a little bit about strategies for community engagement. Obviously, the ULURP process, zoning, it's a complicated subject. There's always challenges kind of engaging people, explaining it to them. And so we figured rather than like a really broad approach, trying to get like everybody, maybe doing a town hall to try and educate a smaller number of people, working through block associations, tenant associations, inviting them would be a good approach. The Center for Urban Pedagogy has done these booklets, which I think Dante sent out in electronic form to all of the board members a while back, about zoning and affordable housing that are like quite well done, and there are some interesting possibilities for workshops and things like that. So that's something that if we can get our hands on them for board members, and also to be able to give out to or use some of those resources for doing the workshop. So we're thinking maybe sometime in the late spring for like an educational workshop. And we also talked more about the, because this is sort of always something that comes up, what is the role of land use and ULURP? Because I think there's always a tendency to either think that we're the committee that's in charge of everything, or it's a committee that's about building housing or something. But there's actually statements in the zoning code that say why we have zoning, and there are a lot of things in there, and it's a lot of things that we've discussed, that we put in our zoning framework. But a couple of things that we hadn't really talked about extensively was zoning for community facilities, and the guidance that it's one of the things that we have to do is to protect the city's tax revenue, which is something that a lot of people don't realize is in there, but there's actually a very strong relationship between development and tax revenue, because a lot of the city's tax revenue comes from property taxes. So we talked about that a little bit. I did a short presentation, and that was pretty much it. And it's a short meeting.
All right, thank you very much for the report. Are there any action items, anything we need to vote on
No.
to go forward?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll take questions from the exec. Kat, you have any questions?
Rob, I had 2 quick questions, if you didn't mind. You said we're not eligible for fast track because there's already a lot of affordable housing. I was just curious, what did they determine as affordable housing, and what's the percentage, or what's the amount if they shared that number within the district?
So this goes back to the ballot questions, which was proposal 2. So proposal 2 said that the 12 communities which had built, the 12 community districts which had built the least affordable housing from a period starting in 2026 and looking backwards for 5 years, that they would no longer, that anytime a developer applied to build affordable housing, their council member would not be involved in the decision of whether to approve or not. The approval would stop at the city planning commission.
So we're on the other end of the spectrum.
Right.
So we built more than a lot of other districts, so.
Right, so if there is an application to upzone to build affordable housing in our district, it would still go through our council member.
Okay.
you spoke of the facilities, or zoning for facilities?
So for community facilities, there's a specific way that the zoning code defines that, but it's typically things like schools, daycare centers, medical clinics, religious institutions. It could be, like like a covenant house, or even like a student dormitory, as long as it's a not-for-profit. And so those things have their own special type of zoning.
So here we have Empire Boulevard where it was nothing but, businesses. So how does that fit within that realm on Empire Boulevard? Because I see more and more buildings or more, property being barricaded, like it's for sale or it has been sold, do we know, is this gonna continue to be for businesses? Or is this gonna be zoned for housing?
So the zoning permits certain types of commercial businesses. It permits certain types of community facilities. But again, the rules for community facilities are different, and one of the things that we discussed was that there's an extremely large bonus for community facilities in certain zoning districts throughout our community. And so what we are seeing is these, is developers and districts where there's a large bonus taking advantage of that and building to build much larger and to build community facility space. Of course, the issue becomes, do they rent it out to what is on the approved list of community facilities?
A question. When you begin, you talk about a lawsuit. Is this filed by the residents?
Yes, the plaintiffs were Alicia Boyd and LaShawn Ellis, as individuals.
So they're residents, not members of your community.
No. Well, I mean, they are residents of CB9,
Yes,
you
right,
all
that's what
know
I
them,
meant.
but they filed in their individual capacity.
Do they file for, do you know the contents of?
Yeah, so they asked for a temporary restraining order, on the basis of the environmental, assessment.
Do you have any questions?
None for him.
I do have one follow-up question. So with regards to that lawsuit, who are the respondents?
The Department of City Planning, the City Council, I think a couple of other city agencies, maybe it was DEP. Department of Buildings, I mean, they put all
We got a whole bunch of departments. Okay, all right, thank you very much for the report then, and there are no action items for this month, okay. Youth Services.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Melissa Severe. I am reporting for Youth and Education on behalf of SOUL. We discussed 2 items at our last meeting. We decided to not have the holiday potluck this year. Instead, we're going to kind of piggyback on other people's events. So we had representation from the School from the Deaf at our meeting. So they graciously invited us to their turkey event that they're doing with Councilmember Hudson. So we're going to be tabling there with the support of the board office. Thank you, Dante. So that's one. So that's going to be on November 22nd. And I believe I shared a flyer already. So that was one. The second thing is we want to get started with planning for the jobs and the youth job and internship fair. We did it last year. It was very, very successful. Okay, maybe that was my own interpretation.
No, it was.
It was.
There is,
I thought it was.
Take that credit.
there is a budget request in there, but before I get to that, I'll just let me just do the highlights. It's going to be on January 31st at the School for the Deaf. It just so happens that one of our committee members is also affiliated with the School for the Deaf, so we already got confirmation that that date is okay. We're gonna do the same time, 10 to 2 p.m. And instead of just doing the gymnasium, we're also gonna do a classroom and offer some additional services for the kids, including resume review and coaching, right? Like job coaching. Just what to say when you get in front of an employer. Let's see, what else should I, or was there any other questions? I should stop here maybe.
No, it's okay, just continue your recording, we'll get to it.
Okay. So in addition to that event, we also approved 4 other events. This includes community cleanup days. One second, I have put it up on the screen because anyone's gonna forget, sorry. Okay, so we have the community cleanup day in March, Educators Town Hall in April, another cleanup in May, and then in June, we have a Juneteenth kind of like community service / family fun day that Soul is going to be taking the lead on. So we approved all of those events, but for today, the only action item we have is going to be in regards to the youth job and internship fair.
The last, just give me the last event.
Oh, the last one I said? That was Juneteenth community service / family fun day.
What date is that?
June 19th. So I created like a little save the date.
No, I gotta pay money on that day, so I can't come to you.
I created a little save the date, which I'll share with you guys, I guess, so that way we can share it at the upcoming turkey giveaway on November 22nd, and just whatever other events that we're tabling at around the community. So we really want to start reaching out to vendors, to schools, students, and start promoting this event as soon as possible. So hopefully with your blessing and support, we can begin to do that as soon as possible.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you have the days for most of these events.
Mhm. Dates are already,
June 19th.
yeah, the only event where we still need a location would be the Educators Town Hall panel discussion, so Billy is working on that, so once we have that information, we'll come back to the executive committee, and if there's anything in cost
But with
related.
that, when you have a date, you just need a venue for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. No, I just say that just because I think it's good for us to just be able to approve a slate of these activities, so it's fine.
Okay, that's lovely.
Yeah, because I mean, it
Thank
gives you time to plan and do all these things, and we can give notice. So
Yes.
these are things we can post for the,
Okay.
so they'll look out for it. If we need to update, things, we can always add that and make the updates in terms of this is the venue. When the venue changes, this is what
I love the idea of doing that, so yeah.
And that's part of the reason why I encourage all committees, if you're doing events like that, the more notice you give is the better, because it gives us opportunity to advertise these things. If there's money that needs to be found, or whatever it is, we can start having those conversations. We can have the conversations, we can have conversations about what resources we need to put around there. But thank you, the committee for putting all that together. So if you can get that, we can probably approve that as a slate. So we'll take care of this one this month. Next month, let's get everything together. No, I'm sorry, but
I have all of the dates here already, and we voted on them as a committee already, that these are the events that we would like to do.
Okay.
So, what else?
no, so actually,
She had said something about the budget, so please.
well, there's a budget, there's a budget specifically for,
The job,
Fair.
the youth job and internship fair.
So we
I
don't-
don't anticipate we'll need a budget for the educators panel. I don't think that we needed a budget last time around.
No, we didn't pay for them.
No, we didn't. So this is the only event that I think that we'll need financial support.
We just have food.
so I guess for informational purposes as well. So what is the anticipated budget for that event?
In January, we're gonna say 150 to 200. That's about what we spent last year for refreshments for the kids, water, donuts, coffee. Not just for the kids, for our vendors as well too, because they're sitting there for hours and hours, and we want to make sure that they're taken care of. So that was it. I mean, if we can do it on anything, yeah.
Okay, so let's go around the table. We'll start with Ethan this time.
No questions from me. Pretty clear so far.
Okay.
None for me, you answer my budget.
As for me, I have information to give to you for the educational, for job purposes, I had given Sol information on, an organization that, teaches you how to do resumes and also help you look for a job. So I'll just give that to you, because it has dates in which these jobs are available, but I'll give that to you, okay?
Yeah, that would be
Okay, so-
great. I did not include this in my report, sorry, but before the event, we wanna do like some sessions where we're doing some job coaching with the kids, you know, talking to them about time management, how to dress, how to talk to an employer,
Right.
all of those type of things. And the day of, we're going to be using a separate classroom to also do resume review, like we did last year, but this time like in a more smaller setting. But thank you, that would be really helpful. That kind of folds into what we wanted to do.
Exactly, so, you know, they help with those things, so, okay.
Mr. Alnor, oh, and just for the record as well, so Madam Secretary, just note, Mr. Alnor is here for attendance. Did you have any questions for Youth Services Education Library?
Not now because I missed most of the presentation. Hopefully they'll come.
All right.
I'll catch you up later.
This is your last chance. Ms. Vassell. Okay.
Maybe you got some information on Juneteenth scholarships. I'll share with you.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, so when we set the agenda, we'll also add that part for those events, we'll approve that with the board as well. All right, thank you very much for that. Do transportation?
I mean, yeah, let's get into it.
Okay.
We had a very vibrant meeting in November on transportation.
Really?
So we held a feedback session on another round of DOT's planned improvements for Brooklyn and Kingston and the Wingate campus plaza situation. We had about maybe 50-ish people in attendance, between 30 and 50, and there was a pretty good range of opinions. Most of them were, of course, against the whole thing, but within that range of it, there were some who, were kind of soft on DOT's plan and weren't really against it too much. Some people expressed the need for more bike infrastructure, but the meeting was primarily for us to present the committee's new alternative plan to what DOT's put forward. And again, there were some who were against the whole thing. Would rather no change. But even to that, there were a lot more varied opinions. In general, people considered it an improvement on what DOT was trying to propose. There were some people who were actually very in favor of it. Some people thought that it was similar to what was done in other parts of Brooklyn that work well right now. And overall, there was a good mix of opinion compared to the more overwhelmingly negative reaction to what DOT's presented in the past. And we'll get back to that in a second. Apart from the feedback session, we also have reviewed our plans for Washington Avenue's enhancement, because for a while there have been asks for some improvement to the crossing abilities on Washington and the Botanic Garden, and we decided to build an interactive map of that. The map would show what the conditions are and what the improvements we need would look like, and we plan to send that to DOT too, so that they could get back to us and start either discussing what a feasible plan would look like, or just see if they could implement that as soon as possible. We also launched an internal study on Schenectady on the eastern side of the district, because we've been getting reports that some of the streets like Schenectady and Troy are either under-designed and could use some improvement in terms of safety, and just getting some attention on some of the schools and the Safe Routes to School program that DOT has. We're trying to avoid ignoring that area, and since we've had so much of our time occupied by the Kingston Brooklyn thing, that we're going to be shifting some attention to that soon, and seeing how we can enhance and improve pedestrian movement in that area. And apart from that, back to the feedback session. So one of the asks from that was for the committee to send a letter to DOT outlining the broad resistance to their proposals from the community. mainly what we saw in the feedback session so far. And I mean, we voted to send that, and we'll see what form that takes, you know, from there. But apart from that, the feedback sessions plan, the plan that we had proposed at the feedback session was generally an alternative to the DOT's plan. The DOT's plan had proposed to add protected bike lanes on Brooklyn and Kingston Avenue from, as of their second version of the plan, from East New York Avenue down to Winthrop Street, and then all around the Wingate Park. So I think that would be Rutland and Wingate, to essentially form a loop around the park and up and down Kingston and Brooklyn Avenue. The main goals of that plan, as I understand it, were to narrow the roadway a bit to prevent racing, because you can't really race with one lane. So they're trying to prevent that sort of super wide, like six car street where people can race as much as they want to in that like 4-block stretch. And they saw some evidence of people racing and doing damage in the area, so they wanted to sort of physically reduce the possibility of that from happening. In addition to that, they also proposed adding daylighting in the area so that people can cross the street more easily, because a lot of the streets are over 40 feet wide. So they proposed daylighting to help people, especially students, cross the street either to and from school, etc. And just overall improve pedestrian walkability in that area. And in response, the alternative plan that the committee proposed would aim to achieve those goals through using raised crosswalks instead of protected bike lanes. You see that people prefer to be able to use the street, and we are proposing that they use raised crosswalks instead. That way we can actually slow vehicles at the intersections, because often when they hit people, when they hit bikers, it's usually at the corners, it's not usually a side step, it's more of a mid-turn type of hit. So we figured that raised crosswalks would have a better effect there. We also proposed conventional bike lanes instead of protected, mainly because people express a lot of concerns about children being hit by bikes, either when crossing at the middle of the block or when exiting vehicles or entering vehicles. So we'd rather have that travel happen in the driveway as opposed to next to the curb. That was us taking into consideration a lot of public feedback there. And we also are going to retain DOT's daylighting plan, because we do think it helps with crossing. We encourage them to continue to minimize parking loss, because people have shown concern there as well regarding parking losses. But we encourage DOT to limit daylighting around schools and places of interest, so that they're where they're most needed and not necessarily blanketly applied across those avenues. That's generally what the recommendation from the committee is, and that'll probably be a voting item out of committee. The DOT letter would be as well, but yeah, we'll try it later.
All right then. Okay, let's do this. Let's take questions first, and then we'll talk about the voting items in our hand.
Yes, questions?
Go ahead.
Are you sending DOT a letter and developing an interactive map that would like correspond with the letter to showcase like this is our suggestion to your proposal? Was I understanding that correct?
So the map that we developed is for Washington Avenue. That's for a different place. That's for Washington Avenue. Because you've noticed that the DOT has a similar plan as well as we do. So we want to sort of outline what is needed in the area.
So you're sending it to DOT, or is it for like
So
the,
to DOT.
okay.
Is that the map that we were discussing about the walkway?
Yeah.
How they have to put the demarcation?
Yeah.
And also a yield sign for pedestrians to
Yep.
walk.
Ms. Amro, you have any questions?
No, but when I have a general question regarding to the DOT, I don't know if this is appropriate. I'm not specifically about those plans.
Yeah, go ahead.
Question I have is, can we identify the traffic islands that's within CB9? Or so, because we are thinking of doing a project of beautifying those traffic islands. Because that's not part of parks, that's part of DOT. For example, you have the Lincoln Flatbush traffic island area.
Yeah.
Somebody's taking care of it. That's the only one that's always look nice, clean, and have flowers and stuff. So we would probably like to engage people as much as possible. First, if we could identify all the traffic island that DOT has control over, or supposed to take care of, including the Triangle at Empire and Washington Avenue, across the square, right next to the next to the supermarket. There are many other traffic islands around this thing. So is this possible you could get that list for us?
Yeah,
So to do that,
yeah, we could.
because in addition to that, one of the things we're gonna try to do, I don't know if you guys work along Bedford Avenue. They just put a lot of tree guards around almost all the trees there
Yeah.
the last couple of months. We wanna do the same thing with that. But that is being done by DOT also.
DOT's putting the tree guards?
Because it was right to the block where I live, and they were all there, and this guy were wearing DOT, not the parks. They were wearing DOT.
Street furniture technically, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DOT would handle that.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Wait, I have more questions. Does the map and back to the map in the letter, does it satisfy both parties of everybody on the committee with their feedback, or does it favor one side more than the other?
Which letter? The, about the overall negative feedback in general?
Yeah.
That letter is, I think, definitely skewed to those who came in person. Because, like, we directly asked for, there was a lot of back and forth happening in the room. So, sure, I mean, I'm not sure what the ratio of no's to yeses is outside of those who came in, but I can definitely tell you that it's very much sort of aimed to, like, match
Basically, like, list out
sentiment that was.
everyone's, this is what everyone basically states is their, like, issue with it, for DOT to have the ability to be like, we see all of your concerns, like, no one's concern is kind of left out, kind of.
I mean, it's more of a general summary of the concerns. We didn't list out every single one of them. They wanted just to encapsulate like the level of reception that happened with the DOT plan.
I think she's speaking of the people that was there that day, where they express and in detail their pros and cons of it, and want this letter to go to DOT. Doesn't necessarily mean it came from CB9, but expresses the need of the community. And they said if it doesn't go anywhere, then they will go further through the mayor or who else may be involved with that, because they had great concerns and they detailed these concerns. So they wanted a letter
Yeah,
from CB9.
yeah. I mean, if I recall correctly, some of those who were here did ask for that. And yeah, the context of that was they wanted us to like send a letter to DOT asking them directly to kill the plan, and if that doesn't do it, they would essentially sue them and join and try to make that happen. You
So
know,
that's
with
what
their
you're
own
speaking
ability.
of. Right. That's what she was.
Yeah.
That's the clarity.
It wasn't saying
That's
that's my
what
question.
you need. Yes.
All right,
Did it flash?
Yeah.
do you have a question?
Oh, yeah, is it? Okay, yeah. Is there a particular time of day where these, safety concerns are popping up near Wingate and Washington Avenue triangle that you were talking about? Or is it just, there's just complaints?
I mean, it's overall complaints. The school did ask for this, so I'm assuming the school has some reason to care about when these things are happening. I'm assuming also that people aren't drag racing in the daytime, although I can't necessarily say it's never happening in the daytime. And combined with that, there is also the ability that people can drive above the speed limit on these streets, and they often do. because they can, and it facilitates a lot of that. So people often will cross these streets and, we'll see people not stop at the stop signs, and we'll see these things. And DOT has a comment tracker on their website about this plan where people can actually leave comments straight to DOT, and people actively are complaining about the fact that drivers don't stop at these stop signs. They blow right past them, and they're going at like 35 sometimes, and probably more in these areas. And there aren't really speed cameras on that stretch either, so you can essentially go 45 and get no consequences.
Is it because they're trying to like avoid Nostrand Avenue or something? At least on the Wingate side.
Well, they're trying to avoid the cameras on Nostrand Avenue.
That's all.
So just what you were asking was like, is there data saying it's more dangerous versus
Yeah.
that people, because like I see on Rogers, people drag racing all the time, but I don't know I don't know what the actual danger.
So DOT did attach some data about this.
Yeah.
DOT did attach some data on this as part of the plan here. I have it in front of me, and I mean, they recorded about 158 total injuries between 2019 and 2023. 71% of the severe injuries were pedestrians or cyclists. 50% of the injuries in this area happened with people crossing with the walk signal. And children between 1 year old to 17 years old made up about 14% of the pedestrian and cyclist injuries.
This sounds like good data too. So
Yeah, and they actually gave a 2024 update because people here asked for it. They weren't satisfied with 2023, so DOT came back and brought 2024, and they showed 32 more injuries and 4 more serious ones in 2024, and that was the highest number since 2021. And 5 children under 18 were injured in 2024. So the total is about 190 injuries, 11 severe, and 11 killed or seriously, well, not killed, but seriously injured.
yeah, it's a lot.
And that's the plan area on Kingston and Brooklyn between Empire and Lindau.
I have a few questions about one of the things, and thank you for giving that information, and when DOT provides it as well.
Yeah.
One of the things I definitely would like for us to do is, for the committee to do, and as a board to look at is, I don't like looking at these things in silos, because what happens is, okay, we shrink down Kingston to make the racers stop racing there, so they move over to Schenectady and they race the other way. I think it's important that we look at holistically the district in terms of where the safety issues are, and we should be doing that so that we're not moving a problem from one place to another, where it's holistic. I think, I love the idea of the raised crosswalks. I think it is something that we should look at. And in general, I think it should always be about improving the safety. We have to get to the point where the conversation always has to be about, we have to balance everything, because we can't ignore that there are people riding bikes in the district, and it's something that is much more prevalent in the city. We do have to recognize that there are people who still have very valid needs for cars. And we don't want to snarl them going all the way up from Church Avenue all the way up to Eastern Parkway or whatever. We want to make sure that seniors and children can cross the street and not fear for their lives every time they're crossing. So everything we do is always going to have to be a balancing act of those three. So definitely looking forward to having additional conversations about that. I appreciate all the work that's been done with respect to that. Okay, looking forward to seeing that plan. Well, that's going to be on the agenda for Thursday,
Yeah,
right?
I have a summary with it, but I also have the plan here. Don's I can print it if he needs to,
Okay.
so everybody can see it. But yeah, we have like a few examples of like what the plan looks like.
Okay.
There.
So Dante, if you can print some copies, just so that we
I'll
can have
send
it. So if there's another round of questions, we can have
I'll
that
send
as well.
Just
Now, the one question I do have, or the concern I do have, is with regards to the letter for DOT. So this letter is, what is the request for us saying?
So the letter essentially would be a request for the board to send a letter to DOT, asking them to stop the entire proposal and just end it and make no changes.
Okay, all right, so I guess my concern.
So let me also add to that. It would mainly hinge on the fact that the feedback that we've gotten has been generally resistant to the school safety improvements. And the ask would be that they just stop it and end it there. And the people who have asked us to do that have promised that they will support by suing and doing whatever they have to do to essentially tie their hands as much as possible. That's the ask.
It wouldn't be a reflection on Community Board 9. And
Well,
Okay.
yeah, we
That's
wouldn't be,
what they-
so,
that's what they
they're, yeah, essentially, they're not asking that CB9 says that CB9 opposes it. It would be a letter saying that the community or those who have given us feedback are opposing it.
Okay, so that's where it's problematic and it may be out of order because we voted on the actual plan already, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So we're saying, I mean, unless we're
Reversing the
no,
vote, right?
yeah, unless we're reversing the vote on that plan, I think is one thing. And then the other piece of that, and I want us all to be, I need to say this as well. I want to be very careful into, we get into the dynamic of the most people who run into a meeting, all of a sudden, that's the will of the community. There are a lot of people in the community, and there's gonna be a lot of people who feel very strongly one way and very strongly another way. And I don't want to get into this practice of we're gonna send letters based on what that was. As a community board, we're gonna do the best we can. People come, they'll give their feedback, they'll, petitions are always very helpful. They're not the be all and end all. It's the conversation and the dialogue that's going to get us to where we need to go. But I think once the board has decided, I mean, obviously we factor that in and that should be part of any resolution in terms of, yeah, there was resistance. Both ways, we should always talk about that. But I don't want to, I think it's a bad precedent for us to go down that path in terms of sending those kinds of letters. I mean, we can absolutely broker a conversation with the elected officials, with DOT, but for us to send a letter, I'm not sure is appropriate. I think it's out of order.
Yeah, I mean, could there be another way to formulate it, perhaps as a part of the preamble section of the resolution where we actually make the plan to sort of give the board a suggestion some extra leave? Because of course, I mean, in the first introductory part of any resolution, we usually have the case for it for the second half. So I think of course adding this in would be a fine place for it to live.
Well,
To give some context.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, in terms of any resolution you do, you put down what the facts are on the ground and you put down why you're voting for it. You don't
Yeah.
say, well, this is the facts, this is the fact, this is the fact. But Mr. Almore hated this plan, and Fred wasn't crazy about it either.
Right.
That's not quite how it goes. I mean, I think it's understood that, yeah, this is not the plan that everybody 100% agreed with, but these are the things that are the important considerations that we think are why we're voting the way we're voting.
Also, they're threatening to sue.
Yeah.
They haven't sued yet, so it's not.
Yeah, but it's not evidence. They're
Yeah.
saying we're going to help you by suing them with your rejection.
you gotta look at the YouTube where it explains in detail what they stated.
1 second, I'll be right back.
No, understood, but I'm just not sure it's appropriate. I think it's out of order for us to actually
Yes.
vote to set the law as well.
So I'm just saying, don't look at the last YouTube, but look at priors, because it substantiates what they said at this last one.
Well, yeah, no, and what I'm saying is, I don't think the understanding is that this sailed through the community and everybody said it, hooray, when we passed this resolution. But it's a matter of, the best we could do is say, listen, these are the considerations and that's why we're voting for these recommendations. For us to say we're gonna acknowledge the resistance, I think it's implicit. It's acknowledging, yeah, this is not 100%, but this is what we're voting based on. And again, to the point where it's like, I don't want it to all of a sudden devolve into, if Fred can bring 50 of his friends over to say this is or 100 of my friends, I don't have any friends. If I can bring 50 people, that becomes a position.
To be nine, people who might not come back, or curfew.
These are people that have homes, it's in the YouTube. I'm just relaying what they said.
No, understood.
They
No,
understand it's not that.
no, absolutely understand, and
understand
we don't
that.
take it lightly that.
No.
No, let me say this. I'm very skeptical that we'll ever come up with a plan that everybody in the district said they would love it. There's going to be resistance, and there's no such thing as the perfect plan. Right? Somebody's going to get affected. Daylighting again. It's like, guess what? If you're driving a car, that means okay, every block I'm losing 2 or 3 spots. But at the same time, guess what? If it means that seniors and kids can cross the street, it's a sacrifice for them. Or perhaps the logic is we say that's a sacrifice we make for that.
But instead of sacrifice, could we then reword it to a way where it's like you're kind of presenting it to DOT, like, these are the concerns, what is a resolution that we most suitable that we're not or like what's a workaround so we're not losing 2 parking spots. So we don't have to be concerned about safety, and we can also incorporate like the fact that more bike lanes need to happen. What like restrictions can we put around it? Is there any way where, yes, not everybody will be satisfied 100%, but there'll still be some way that like, maybe I lose my parking spot during the day, but at night I know I have a place to park my car if I come home late from work, and I just have to move it in the morning.
And I mean,
I like that.
with something like that, I mean, there's always a thing that can happen. Like, for example, maybe race crosswalks are so effective that there's no need for delay. Maybe vehicles are actually driving really, slowly when they should, and you can just cross the street and you know the car's gonna be slow, right? And it wouldn't be a problem. That could be a way to maybe save a parking spot or 2 or 3 or 4, right? But the breadth of responses that cover this are just, they affect every single thing. Like, someone came and said that he's a school bus driver and his kids will get nauseous if they're in a school bus and they go over a speed bump. Like, eventually, it's like death by 1,000 cuts. If you remove every single thing, you get nothing. And that's essentially kind of what they're asking for, right? It's like, I don't want to be nauseous, I don't want to have to turn slowly, I don't want to have to do any of these little things that are going to be a little safer, so let's just do nothing. And we've made the case to DOT to have them, tear this down that works for the community here, and they took almost every suggestion we made, which is great, right? And we're coming back now to say, actually, here's an even better way to do it that we think, would get rid of the drawbacks that people had about, their children being safe moving vehicles and that sort of thing. And I mean, this is I think a bit of the bare minimum we can do, but I think there's gonna be a reason not to do everything. But I think like Fred said, it comes down to maybe what can we use to create safety at the end of the day, right? So
I
yeah.
have one more thing, and then I promise we'll be done.
It's okay.
Is there any way then, I hear what you're saying, is there any way to present, could we maybe like start or adopt like one thing and see in X amount of time how this one thing affects? What's the community response? Has it actually aided? Is it more a negative response before it's like, here's the full-blown plan and it's overnight and now it's changed the whole trajectory of the neighborhood?
That was stated in the meeting.
Yeah, something to bring it up. Like maybe having a test run, right?
Right.
And
Yeah,
as a matter of fact, part of the reason why we chose raised crosswalks is because a few years ago there was someone did a survey here, and one of the things that they actually said they were willing to test out was raised crosswalks. They were very much against being a testing ground for protected bike lanes because they didn't want to subject their children to a potential travel lane between them and the curb. But they were very happy they voted that they were very happy to test out raised crosswalks, which I found to actually make a lot of sense in this area. So I mean, it is a bit of a test rollout, but it's a test rollout that I think people here are willing to do, at least in comparison to what else is on the table, right? But at the same time, DOT is trying to move fast. They're in sort of a building mindset. I'm not sure if they'd be super happy to hear something like, well, let's put one of these in, or 2 of these, and then let's wait and see how many fewer people get hit, and then do the rest later. I think we're at the point where if we drag our feet, they're just going to install the previous plan before we can turn around and, and take a second look.
Or sometimes the worst thing is they do nothing and everything continues the way it's going.
And then when you
Status
actually,
quo, status quo is not where we need to be. There needs to be something done. I'm sorry.
and then when you actually want something, they ignore you. There's also that part too.
And that's the other thing. When you lose the attention, sometimes you lose it for years. So that is.
Plan
I-
examples
yeah.
are here for those who want them.
Yes, we'll pass that for the.
Pass those around.
But to your point, that doesn't mean we can't say, listen, but these are improvements we need to make, and we should always be looking back and saying things aren't working. If things are working, sometimes listen, I've been pleasantly surprised. And then sometimes it's like, okay, well, listen, you don't need this.
No,
Those even came out good.
Everyone except first vice chair.
They came out pretty fine.
And I think this is a good lesson for all of us as a board. It's like, you know what? Sometimes it's okay to try something different because we're not necessarily locked into it. And we should always be looking at things to say, listen, it was a nice try, it didn't work. Or you know what? It was a nice try, but it's even better if we do something else. So we might find daylighting. It's like, no, you don't need 2 spots. If you get this and you do that. And to your point, I think it's important that sometimes we have, okay, no, they shut down town, so it's like, one of the examples, loading zones. When they put loading zones, okay, I get it, during the day, yeah, you might want a truck, someplace for a truck to pull over so that way they're not blocking the street. They're not coming at 3 o'clock at night. So have the loading zones operate from certain times to certain times, so that way you can accomplish both, where people can find a spot to park, and if I'm leaving in the morning, fine, go ahead, you can do it yourself. Thank you very much for that feedback, and these are the kinds of conversations. Yes.
I just have kind of a request along similar lines to yours that we start thinking about these plans in a more holistic way. So if there's a proposal to eliminate X number of parking spots for safety reasons, can we also look at what are the other parking resources in the area, whether it's commercial or institutional lots, are they full? Could we potentially provide more parking spaces? There's been a request in that, and then also we have large developments coming up in the area that don't have any parking spots, so people are concerned about that. There's been requests for a new municipal parking garage. So these are all things to sort of consider in terms of tallying up the amount of parking that's being lost, the amount of new parking needs that might be generated, to just if we could kind of coordinate on that.
So you wanna bring a balance, is that it?
I mean,
What's
I
being
think,
lost and
it's up to the community to decide what the balance is, but I'd like for us to at least understand what all these plans in total are doing, because you have stuff that's coming from the transportation side, there's stuff that's coming from the land use side in terms of development, and there's, maybe some potential mitigations that.
I think there should be sort of a community district fact sheet that covers all these things, like how many parking spots are here, how many,
Yeah,
pieces.
so if we can kind
zoning, all that kind of
of,
stuff.
coordinate on that in terms of how many parking spots are we expecting to lose from all of these various plans? How many new parking spots needs are expected to be generated from development, and what's the potential for us to mitigate the issue, different ways. That would be my ask. And just in terms of some of these safety issues, looking at it from a public safety perspective, how are we thinking about enforcement? How are we asking NYPD about enforcement? Because drag racing, that's not a run-of-the-mill speed ticket. That's a major offense. And there should be, if there was drag racing, there should be a police report in there somewhere, right? And I know my neighborhood, whenever NYPD comes, traffic issues are the first thing that they ask about. And of course, the response is always, well, we don't have enough manpower to do enforcement on roadblock. So,
why aren't there cameras then in those places?
well, there are
There's a
limits
there's
by
a-
state
yeah,
law
there's a state
on
cap.
how many,
But those should be the conversations, I'm sorry.
but yeah, that might be a conversation that you guys want to have in terms of advocating for more enforcement.
Yeah, and cameras are one thing too, but again, cameras don't really have a big effect the richer the person is. It's more monetizing speeding than preventing it in that case.
Thank you.
So,
Sorry.
cameras in that case are good for sort of common high-speed areas, maybe Kings Highway or Eastern Parkway. And when it comes to a street right next to a school, you kind of want to not have someone get hit as opposed to make $200 off of that.
Well, that's why we have the crossing guards and the lower speed limit, right? But if there's a lower speed limit, how do you enforce it, right?
Right.
If you're drag racing, you probably have fake plates on anyway, so.
There's also
Which
that.
goes back to the enforcement issue.
Right, and that's a lot more
Are
resources.
we
than just-
going out and catching these? These people are criminals. They're not gonna care if you have a bike lane. They're not gonna care if you have a speed limit. They're not gonna care if you have a speed camera. At the end of the day, it's a serious enforcement issue.
But they often do care if they hit a different car, or if they damage their own vehicle. That's often what these people might care about.
So that's what it takes.
More than a camera,
Although,
more likely.
I was hearing from someone recently that they often rent cars, sometimes from these car share websites or something, return them damaged or with hundreds of tickets and then it's the owner that, or the rental company or whatever that walks away, like, or maybe it's a stolen car, that's an issue too. A lot of the times, people that are driving in a really unsafe way, it's a stolen car, so.
So I agree on that. I just want to add one more point, and it's because these discussions often sort of veer a little bit to the idea that it's just the criminals who hit people. It's not. A lot of regular people who are just going 40 or 37 hit someone in a crosswalk, and that's probably more often than the drag racing that happens on Kingston or Brooklyn Avenue, and that's really what this is trying to stop. It's not just the criminals; it's the everyday people who are a little heavy-footed.
No, so I think the point is that this is fertile ground for a lot of these conversations, and I think it really drives home the point. We need to be thinking holistically because it's not just one thing. And by that same token, and Ethan, I thank you and the committee for looking at that. There are toolboxes, so it's not like it has to be cameras everywhere. There's different things we can use, and we want to be able to pick from that toolbox to see what best fits the community and accomplishes the goals. We want people to be able to go home and be safe. All right. Thank you very much for that. So, all right, and we'll come back, because I know members are looking at the plan that's been submitted, so we'll come back at the end, or we'll have questions on that. All right, Parks, you have a question? You have a report?
There's no more
Yes.
items.
It was a letter for DOT, but I think that's out of order.
I think so too.
That's out
I
of
had
order.
it. Okay.
But we do have that,
Oh, I have it.
this proposal. Okay.
That's
No.
what we just got? Yeah.
I got it.
Thank you.
All right, I'm sorry, go ahead, Parks.
Yes, we had a meeting on 13th, and it was attended. We're looking into appointing a couple more community resident members. So one of the guests that attended, Mr. Alexander Sissoman, just opened a gallery at Brooklyn Commons. He's willing to come on board to do personal work at liaison, because the person who's doing that have left the committee. So we have liaison assigned to most of the major cultural institutions within the city 9.5 and beyond. By beyond I mean Bricks and BAM. We're trying to thinking is they're receiving tax dollars to serve the whole Brooklyn. We want to make sure they provide service to community Brooklyn. Based on that, one of our last meeting, we have last year on last meeting, we had a representative from Bricks that came in. We would like to have them scheduled for a full presentation as the general board. So we're looking at a date next year. So we have a date yet, so that's what I'm saying. So we did a tour on November 1st. We did a tour of as many as the parks. It was the three of us that day. It was myself, David Romeo, and West Woodard. And we visited parks from Wano up to Hamilton Mets. Took a lot of pictures and stuff, so we are hoping to put that information in. We will, since we did not complete it, so we're going to reschedule another one again to cover the one we're doing that. And we would like to do it before March 28th. March 28th is the chosen date for the biennial conference of Brooklyn Open Parks, of which I think on the 2nd, I'm going to go to Ball to let everybody knows about that. March 28th, so actually I just came up from the meeting. We meet every 2 weeks. I just came out of a meeting from the planning committee today. So we are moving right along. The agenda is already set, and there are positions for the different community board to participate and provide to participate. So I will be sharing eventually. I did share with the committee the proposed workshop that's already been scheduled to get their comments on that, and we will be putting together a resolution from the committee to the general board for this particular activity. So far, there hasn't been much of a budget requested for that, like the Breakfast Prospect Park Alliance, which is one of the members, when those decide they're gonna be providing breakfast, so so they are, and there are a lot of independent parks organization that have a lot of money and that may contribute to that. And that's one of the things we cover. And we talk about have another project, which is the Interfaith Luncheon Project that we started to talk about. I share with them a proposal to do that, so thinking of something somewhere in April or May at the Brooklyn Museum. So we got to get an organization who should commit together to see the feasibility of doing it. If we don't do it this year, hopefully some other time. And then we confirm that we'll have the community fair the weekend after Memorial Day. And that's more or less what we cover. And at our last meeting, this meeting has been submitted for the next general meeting.
All right, thank you for that information. Are there any,
Question?
okay, well, are there any action items on yours that you prefer?
No, there's no any action item at this point.
Okay, all right, we'll take questions. Okay. Elise? Linda?
No.
Ethan?
Not very much.
Okay, so, any questions?
I do. Are there any cultural affairs or parks stuff that are directly for youth that we should know about or be aware of that are upcoming?
No, we haven't, no. What we spoke about, which I forgot to mention, we discussed the possibility to do an art summit.
Oh, what's that?
An art summit
Oh,
within
art
community,
summit, okay.
community online where we could discuss a lot of this particular thing. And we do see which we are looking into collaborating with other communities to do that. And everything we're covering is covering everybody from youth to senior citizens.
Do you have any questions? Okay, I do have a couple, just great, glad you got additional members. With regards to liaisons to major institutions, like, do we have, with even some of the other cultural stuff like the Brooklyn Museum, Children's Museum, do we have a direct contact with Major Owens?
Yes,
Me,
she is.
I'm right here.
I didn't know
I've
she-
been here.
Yeah, she's our vice chair for the committee. She's also a member, the secretary for the board for Major Owens.
Okay.
And
See,
and
when
one
you
of
think
her-
you know people.
Yes.
Advisory committee?
And
The
then
advisory
advocacy
board.
Yes. I didn't realize
I mean,
that, okay.
she's charged as a liaison to bring everybody that is at the Major Owens to come and
Okay.
present to us.
I know.
Like this was our next meeting.
Great fun.
All the liaisons will be giving me a date
Okay,
to come and address the committee or the board, and a date for us to go and visit them.
okay, all right.
So we're about, one of our to-do for next meeting is to construct a calendar up to the end of the fiscal year
Okay.
for all these activities.
Good, and my apologies. No, but I think it's very important, but to that point, I think it's very important that we maintain those relationships, because especially I know, I attended some of your meetings in the past, there were so many resources coming out of them that I think it's important that we might cross-pollinate. I think Brooklyn Museum, they had certain internships or summer projects that I think would be great for youth services and so on and so forth. So I think that there are a lot of resources that we want to be able to bring back in, and just to keep those relationships going. So thank you very much for that. I think that
I
was
want to say one more thing. We have a committee called what? Education and Libraries. But there's so many cultural activity at the libraries. So we would love, a lot of people think library should be under our committee. Libraries. But I don't want to go that far.
No. Put a pin on that one. No. So let's do this. Let's put a pin. Let's put a pin on this. I'll speak to that as well. Thank you very much for bringing that up.
Yes.
Let's have that conversation.
I don't want to go that far. I say I'd rather have synergy. with
Well,
the
I
committee.
think the main branch, the central branch has a lot of the cultural activities, and the branch libraries are more oriented towards the kids, like,
Lindsay
Yeah.
does a lot of,
Right.
well, at least
Right.
back in the day, they used to do a lot of cultural stuff, but I know what you mean, like Crown Heights doesn't do as much as,
I
Central.
mean, Maple Street Library used to do a lot of stuff. I just used to work there.
Well, remember, we have two in the district, so there's Eastern Parkway plus,
Maple
Maple
the Maple Street branch.
Because-
Close both hours, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
Let me add one more thing. One of our goals is to bring as many cultural activities into the Palladium playgrounds that would lead all the way through the summer.
Yeah.
And also, we're trying to get a sport liaison for us to find out. I think last year we tried to get an assessment of what sports facilities they are available, especially the Board of Education facilities. They are available, and very few people know how to use it or have access to use it. For example, my whole school where I taught for 21 years, there's a swimming pool in there. And who's using it on Saturday and Sunday? Chinese Planning Council out of Sunset, out of Baywatch. I don't see why we don't have a few hours in there. If they have Saturday, we can have Sunday and have a swimming program in there.
Well, that's the conversation.
So those are the things we're trying to resolve.
That's exactly the conversation, and actually, that's part of the problem too, because a number of times we have a lot of groups competing for the same resource, so depending if you have standing appointments or if you have a contract, then you lose that, so that way we would have.
Also, if you have good political connection to get in there.
That too.
That's why it's done.
But you know, but let's start from let's start it from this angle. Let's find out who wants to do what programming, and then try and connect them in terms of what spaces are available.
Yeah.
So that's great though.
In terms of sport, I'm hoping by next meeting we'll have a sport liaison, and then we're gonna really work on that. Because some people are saying we need a real dedicated soccer field in CB9 Bishop.
I'm
saying
this.
Yeah, I'm saying
Oh,
this.
the ASO lady came to our youth and education
Old
committee.
lady?
Ainsley?
ASO.
Oh,
Ainsley Bender?
Ainsley, yeah.
Okay.
What did I say?
I thought you said old lady.
I thought so too.
Sorry,
I
I was
heard
talking, I said it too fast because I was excited. But we did have a representative from that National Soccer Organization for Youth come to
They're
our.
at the parade, but
Yeah.
they're.
At the parade.
They wanna be more involved.
Right, but bring them in
Yeah.
because every park,
Ainsley lives on Maple Street.
every school park, I have some organizations in there that are doing sports.
Yeah.
Jackie Robinson, they have a group of people that's been there for years organizing basketball. PS92 in the street where I live in, we have good screens who've been there over 30 years, doing all kind of stuff. And these are the kind of people we want to bring in. And this is one of the things I was trying to achieve for this particular biennial conference, but so far, I did propose a workshop on sports and cultural activity in the parks, but we still not to have enough time to do it. But I'm thinking of another way to introducing it because part of the schedule of that conference, which is the end of it, which is going to be a networking lunch for 90 minutes for each of the community board to present who they are, what they do, what their is going to be. My goal is to bring some of those people to say, hey, I've been working on this park forever as part of CB9 to start to put that in this idea out. So
One more point, and then we do have to move on. I would also say another contact we should do is get you connected with New York Roadrunners. Because
Yes,
especially
yes.
with the amount of activities they do,
Yeah, and they have
some
money.
conversations.
and they have money and they could fund a lot of
They could fund a lot of stuff, or at least we can make that connection, bring them into the schools.
But we did have a person who came and promised us that,
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah, so that's a connection we'll make and let's coordinate.
You know, I'm here to just raise my hand and say, I'm happy to like be, like Ainsley from ASO is a friend of mine, but also like beyond ASO, to be able to have soccer like a real field that the travel teams can play, because my son who grew up here, he was, you know, up in like all parts, he was getting home at 11 o'clock at night because there were never any fields that anyone could play at, right, you know, anywhere near here, so it would be huge if there is space.
This should be part of our needs assessment to put it on real
Yeah, no, absolutely.
professional sports field because the presenter we had was the Central Brooklyn coach Stanley Harmon was there,
and he said he's gonna try to see, I asked him to come with a proposal. Hopefully we'll get that. And hopefully, I told him if not him, get me somebody to be a sport liaison, because he's using the old Bosnia High School field. That field has been given by somebody strong political connection to the Eagle Academy. They could for anything that happened in that field.
Naval Academy from Harlem?
Well, no, it's a
Bed-Stuy.
network.
Oh, that's that,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
The one in Bed-Stuy.
Oh, yeah.
Uses. But we've been there for over 10 years, Central Brooklyn Soccer Club.
That's just like Central Way.
Yeah.
Let's make the connection and create a synergy to get a lot more done.
Is Armstrong still there?
No.
All right, so listen, so we do need to get back in order and get back on track. So I have two reports that I'm gonna give. I'll try to make these as quick as possible. First one is with regards to housing. So the update was last month, our housing chair, she resigned from the board. So, again, let me just reiterate, I would just want to thank her for her service and everything that she's done. I chaired the meeting this month, mainly to just kind of, one, just get a sense of what they were doing and just ease the transition into next year. One of the asks that I've asked for all the committees to do is to kind of figure out what do we need to do in terms of community needs. So I think they've done a lot of work in terms of starting that conversation and developing a housing profile and identifying other resources as well. So they're in good shape. It's a great group, and I'm looking forward to a lot of great things with them. So with that being said, I am appointing Mina Lagoop, our treasurer. She is going to serve as the chair of the housing committee for the whole year. So she's taking on a fantastic choice. She came in a pinch last year and helped us with that, and she's taken up the challenge and she's going to do it again. So with that being said, I thank her for that, and I'm just asking all of the exec to make sure that we come around her and support her and the committee and all of our committees in terms of whatever they need to do. We are here as a resource for all of our committees. Okay. Now, next committee I will discuss is the Public Safety Committee. So we had a couple of conversations. Well, actually, let me get right to the business items that we have. So one applicant, Zura Lee, at 731 Flatbush Avenue, did not come, so we tabled them until the December meeting. So we will consider their application when they come back. We did see an SLA application for WHP BK LLC at 259 Rogers Avenue, Cross Streets, President and Carroll Streets. This is for a new wine, beer, and cider license. The committee voted to send a letter of no objection to SLA. The recommendation is to send a letter of no objection to SLA with the stipulation that from Monday to Thursday, they close at 10 p.m. And then on Fridays and Saturdays, they will close at midnight. So the applicant agreed with the stipulations, so we are forwarding that recommendation. The recommendation is here for the exec, and that's the recommendation we want to put to the full board. We did have, I'm sorry?
Can you repeat the hours?
10 p.m. Monday through Thursday, closing at 10. And then on Fridays and Saturdays, they can stay open late until midnight.
And what was their ask?
Originally, they asked for 12 p.m. all around.
12 a.m.?
Yeah, 12 a.m. all around.
Okay.
It's a smaller place, and they were just saying, just want a little bit of alcohol, so so people who come in, they can have that to eat with the the cuisine and everything like that. But this wasn't something they were talking about staying open long. This is just more in terms of supplement the menu. But anyway, that application was approved unanimously by the committee. We had two cannabis applications that were held over from the October meeting. One was for Rise Garden Convenience LLC at 1211 Nostrand Avenue, Cross Streets Hawthorne and Winthrop. And we also had Dawn Resources Unlimited LLC at 1216 Union Street, Nostrand and Rogers Avenues. Those two applications, again, were holdovers from last month. We asked the district office to confirm with the applicants that they needed to come and present the public safety meeting. As they did not come, they did not, no call, no show. The recommendation of the committee was to send in a recommendation of objection on the grounds that they did not even come to the board to answer any questions about the application. And this is something that we want to make sure as a board we are doing, we are responding to these things. I think, especially given the trainings we've had, these are really the first and maybe one of the few opportunities we have to have a say-so in terms of these applications. If they do not respect the community enough to even come to the committee and present, that's a flag right there. So we want to make sure that we are very clear in terms of, they need to go back to the drawing board, and when they are ready to come back and do business and respect this community, that's another conversation. But as for right now, our recommendation is not to approve the application. And that is it. Yes, we are still continuing work. I'm actually having conversations with regards to the SLA applications at OCM. We've been working on a framework for that. One of the things I'm trying to do is I'm reaching out to colleagues as well to understand what best practices they've been using in terms of notifications, in terms of what kinds of hours they approve for, just because we want to make sure that we have some kind of a consistent framework where it makes sense for the community. So we're working on that. When that feedback comes in, we'll incorporate that, and it's intended to be a presentation that'll come before the Public Safety Committee, and then it'll come to the board for a full vote, conversation and vote after that. Okay, that is all. So no for public safety.
One, I thought the other person didn't show up.
Well, 2 action items. One to say yes for that application, and then one to say no for the two OCMs. Okay. Are there any questions? I'll take questions. Got any questions? Salvador?
No.
Please. Linda?
No. We don't hold up at the board meeting. Please speak about questions.
I have a question.
Okay, no questions. Go ahead.
Is there any news on the Q teams and how we get in touch with them, who they are, who's in charge of that for the 71st? Because we're hearing that there are no more NCOs, that there are Q teams, but who are they?
Correct. The Q team actually did come last month.
Okay.
Last month or September? No, September. They came in September. So they did come. To contact the Q teams, actually all you have to do is contact the 71st Precinct directly,
Okay.
and they will connect you with the sergeant in charge. There was a lieutenant in charge there. I believe there's some change in the leadership, so I think there's a new sergeant there as well. But all to say, sent directly through the 71st Precinct. And the job of the Q team is to respond to any quality of life issues. So if you have noise complaints, if there's any of those, quality of life issues, if you report those to 311, the Q team is supposed to pick those up directly and address.
So is it literally the NCO position just with a new name?
Yeah, they phased out the NCO, so the Q teams handle all of the stuff.
And we also heard that although murders and shootings were kind of flat to down in the district, that there was a big increase in the number of other serious crimes like felonies and burglaries and things like that. So do you know if NYPD has had anything to say about that?
I haven't heard an updated report. They came in September. We didn't see them in October or this month. But we'll definitely make sure, Dante, if we can request that they come in and give updates for those 2 months as well and what the major issues are. So we'll make sure we do that. Additionally, I think we're trying to see if we can get the CO of the precinct to come as well to address the board. So not for this month, but definitely between December and January, we're extending the invitation for them to come and present for the board.
So, may I say something about that?
Mhm.
I've been communicating with the president, Mr. Clark Cohen, to coordinate our schedule as far as going to the 71st Precinct to see what's going on there, and of course have them here. But we have a meeting on the 20th, which is a conflict, because we have a meeting for a general board. So what I've done was given them the calendar so we can try in the future to not conflict. So we can also partake there, and get all the information we can get.
Yes.
For a while.
Yeah.
We already set the rules.
And let me counsel, but we are distinct from the 71st Precinct Council, and we need that attention as well in terms of,
No, of course.
we've already made an adjustment where it used to be that the 71st Precinct would come and report to the district manager at his service cabinet meetings.
Service cabinet, right.
We were given, per the conversation, they were saying, well, listen, we can't be everywhere. Well, we're like, okay, well, listen, we have to make a choice. Come to the Public Safety Committee, because that way the residents can actually speak to you. So we want them to be more consistent. I was happy that they came in September, but now they've missed 2 months. So that'll be the conversation. I want to make sure that they come back and they're responsive, because this is the information we want to have. And by that same token, again, to the point, I think it's important that we hear from the CO in terms of, listen, we need to see a face. He's been here for a few months, and I give grace in terms of, listen, it's a big district, and you got a lot of work to do. You gotta get, if you wet, you gotta get running. But at the same time, that's a part of it. But you do have to address the residents of the district. And in the board setting as well. It should be to the point, I don't want to make it something provincial, that we have to travel somewhere else to go see that.
I wanted to go there to see everyone, And then also for them to come here,
Absolutely.
you know, yes.
And, you know,
When they come here, they will see our.
and when we get past the holidays, you know, like I said, the first part of the year is always tough, schedule wise, but I think, you know, we're gonna definitely try to make sure that if something happens by the new year.
Yes.
All right then, okay, Melissa, I'm sorry, I think you had a question as well?
Oh, no, I was just, yeah, just for Zuri Lee, that's like, or do they have like, you said they have the same ownership and everything like that? We don't know. Okay, so from their application, we don't know if it's the
You know,
same.
let me not lie to them, I didn't look at the application.
Is it
close.
it would be a renewal?
Renewal.
or-
They've been open for years.
Right, that's why I was
Is-
like curious why we're.
Actually, no, it's
Yeah.
new.
It's new.
Is it
But they've been
new?
open on
Yeah,
Flatbush
maybe
and
they didn't have the liquor license.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
well,
have
actually,
liquor
they're asking for a
Yeah,
liquor
they're
license,
liquor-
so maybe they might be changing the
Oh,
license.
not just wine and beer, maybe.
It could be a license
But
change.
Cause yeah, I've been like, they've been here for a while.
Don't sell them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they had, I thought they had closed for a time, so.
Right. There was like a like.
Oh, right, so they got the liquor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a different stuff.
Yup, you like.
All right, okay.
One last
All right, so
question,
listen, so I wanna make
Mr.
sure we get back on track so we can get this done and get you out of here in a reasonable amount of time.
One
All
last
right.
quick question about
Yes.
the
If they can come, is there any report that could send it to us in writing on a regular basis?
I mean, let me say this, with NYPD, at the very least, there's a monthly report that comes, there's a weekly report, it's either weekly or monthly, that, what do they call it, CompStat generates. So it'll give you all those statistics for a district. But part of the reason why we prefer to have them there is because they can explain what it is. You know, they'll tell us if we're flat in certain areas, to Suki's point, it's like sometimes you see spikes, and they can help us explain what the spikes are.
Right.
You know, sometimes the spikes might be a percentage thing, where it's like, you know what, if you had only one of something ever happen, and all of a sudden you have two, if it's 2 or 3, it's like, oh, that's a 200% increase or something like that. So they explain those numbers in a way that makes sense for the district, and we know what to advocate for. Okay. All right. Dante, and then we'll have the district manager's report, and then I'll try and give a very brief chairman's report, and we'll set the agenda. Go ahead.
So, public notices, community board applications are live. For Brooklyn, the deadline for applications to be submitted to Borough Hall is February 6th. And they are not planning to extend it, so please get it in on time. You can get the application on our website in the news section. We have the paper application, the link is there, and then also the link to the online. It's quite a long application, but nonetheless. It's there, so please direct people to our website.
To be on the board.
Yeah, I've mentioned this a couple of times, but we have received a couple of Lockard NYC placements in the district. The first two were 867 Nostrand Avenue and 614 Flatbush. An additional location is coming at 393 Lefferts, which I think is a residential building. But I think it will have public access. The Metro Llama across the street, Crown Gardens, 1185 Carroll, has open lotteries for studio 1, 2, 3 bedroom apartments. You can apply for that via Housing Connect, excuse me. We have the notice, so we'll post it in the e-blast for the public. On November 21st through the 4th, November 28th through December 1st. That's Friday at 11:30 p.m. to 5 a.m. on the Monday. There will be no Q train between Prospect Park and Stillwell Avenue. Prospect Park will be the last stop on the Q train. There will be continued shuttle service at the location. We have the notice, and we'll bring a notice to the general board and also put in the e-blast as well. The station manager came by our office today to let us know that the elevators are going to be out at Prospect Park, the BQ, and at Utica Avenue, the 3 and the 4 stations for approximately 8 months for ADA accessibility upgrades. 8 months.
Yeah, they need fixing.
So we're gonna take them out. We're gonna take them out of service for 8 months so they can be more accessible.
Yes.
Not just ADA,
Thank
that's
you for summarizing that so well,
accessibility.
Fred.
So
The elevator in and of itself is the accessibility, right?
it takes a long time to do all these things. I don't know. I don't do that.
Wow.
What's the upgrade that's being planned?
No, I'm sorry, we can, go ahead, Doc, if we can just let him finish for the last question.
Yeah, I believe that the upgrade is elevators. If it does not have elevators, then it would be like escalators. So once that like comes to us and we get an actual official notice, we'll send that out. But she stopped by, so I wanted to at least note that we created a flyer for it. So we'll blast that out in the e-blast, so at least people know ahead of time. We did receive a demolition notice today for 335 Maple Street, which has been a topic of conversation, obviously, at the board and in the UIP committee. So wanted to just put you guys on notice that that notice came today. So there should be probably some expectation that they're going to move pretty quick on that project. Just to run over just a couple of things real quick. The Commission on Community Reinvestment and Closure of Rikers Island is holding a public hearing. That hearing is actually tomorrow. We had the flyer in the e-blast from 9 a.m. to 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. via Zoom to discuss the equitable reinvestment of savings from the closure of Rikers. You can join that hearing at 646-828-7666 and enter the ID 161-032-1906. If you want this information, feel free to call the board office in the morning and we can send it to you directly. That will be in that. Neighborhood Advisory Boards 8 and 9 will be holding their annual public hearing on Thursday, December 4th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. at the Brooklyn Children's Museum, 155 Brooklyn Ave. And you can also participate via Zoom. This is an opportunity to hear residents and stakeholders about what programs and services are needed in the community. They also have a community needs assessment that's also active now. So if you get the opportunity, please fill that out. Just a couple quick notes. We have received a lot of Thanksgiving giveaway event flyers. They're in the e-blast. We also have some of them posted in front of the office. If you know folks who are looking for that, direct them our way. You might have seen some markings in on your block. So I've reached out to the Parks Department. So they are planting trees, and they are planting a lot in this district. So I have the full list here. I created this. All right, I have copies. We will put it in the e-blast. Every address is on there. So hopefully if you want a tree, it's there. And that is all supposed to happen this fall. So this is going to be happening pretty quick.
How much they get?
Yeah. And then, last thing is the December calendar is extremely condensed because of the holidays. All the meetings are basically in the first 10 days, 10, 11 days of December, something like that. So just be cognizant of that and check the board website.
All right, thank you very much. Questions for the DM's report? Okay, questions? Any questions?
No questions.
Do you have any of those,
Yeah.
is that inside our building?
That's kind of where my question is. So let's take your question first, and then I have a question.
So
Yeah, no, we're covered.
the neighborhood advisory board hearing, this is, I guess, another place where you can request district needs, but like what specific pot of money is that about? Is that the city's budget? Is that?
I cannot explain that right now.
Okay.
But I will explain it at the general board.
Okay.
A quick note, because it's not the city's money, and that's a good point. I will explain that. Specific grants, community-based grants that come from the Fed, I will explain that
Okay,
a
but
little bit.
if you could just sort of make it so that like people know what stuff to ask for at that hearing.
I understand. Yes. Okay. Okay, was there another question?
I have one question, very quickly. So now, with respect to the plantings, did Parks approach the board about the locations, and what do we know about what kinds of trees, where they're going to be, and some other information about those?
No, to answer your first question.
Okay.
Next, they sent this list. I responded and asked if like this is public, because I would love to notice this. And they said, yes, please disseminate it. And so I created this. So that's how we ended up here.
Okay. So let me say this. Let me preface by saying I love trees.
Right.
But with that being said, they actually did come and present before the borough board. This is several months ago. And part of the conversation we had with them is that this sounds great, because I think this is a new part. I think they're trying to do the city in phases, where they're going to come, they're going to do a district, and they're just going to concentrate on one district, and then they move on. And I think they're supposed to do it in 3-year phases or something to that effect. The questions that came up from me and a number of other chairs was, this sounds great, but I think that part of the challenge around this is we don't know where the trees are coming up, and we don't know whether the trees are in the right placements. I love the idea of trees, but I mean, sometimes when you put the trees, especially the way they grow, it's like, you know, we don't understand if it's going to interfere with the street lighting, or does it make the streets darker? You know, all of a sudden now,
Your own stories and
sewage, yes, okay, so now these things are growing into, you know, things. Obviously, it's like, you know, it becomes an issue where, you know, you have a tree that's in a pit and the pit overgrows or whatever else, and all of a sudden it's cracking up the sidewalk. Now, all of a sudden, the owner's responsible for this and everything, you know. So in other words, there were a number of questions that come up from this, where part of what we had asked for is that there needs to be some community engagement before they all of a sudden sign off and say, oh, these trees are going to go up in the district. Some trees make sense, some don't necessarily make sense. And especially the other piece we wanted to confirm as well is because Parks does not necessarily have the greatest track record with respect to taking care of these things. As you know, noted by, we have a number of neighbors who have already talked about, yes, I had a tree branch fall on my car or whatever else. So I say that to say that we should probably contact them in terms of, we need to understand what exactly, there's more questions we should ask in terms of where they're going, how did they decide the placements, and what can we expect in terms of what's gonna end up being there. Because we have questions.
Can you send me those questions?
I will send those questions.
Can you answer?
Because, you
I
know,
was gonna
I
say,
think that we're
to
very
Fred's
lucky to
point
get the
about
trees.
what kind of trees, nobody I know likes the ginkgo trees. Okay, because they drop nuts that
Stinky,
really
ginkgo
smell.
stinky.
And
Yeah.
they
Oh,
mess on
those.
the sidewalk, and they smell like vomit when they.
Yeah, because nobody likes to sweep them up.
And you can, and you can also
Just
refer
say,
the.
like, no ginkgo
They're
trees,
pretty, but-
please.
Ginkgo?
So,
The bigger stuff for the tree, I have
right,
it too.
so all to say, I think I have some questions, I'll send you some of my questions that I think we need to have answered. It sounds like they're already planning to go inside, but I
Yes.
think we need to ask these questions now.
Right.
All right.
I guess you just assume that somebody who knows something about trees, like an arborist or something, would be part of this process, but I guess no.
I mean,
Here's the
we-
thing.
Sort of learning.
Here's the thing.
They are.
We would assume, but the thing is, we don't know, or at least, at the very least, that's a conversation they should have come and told us, where it's like, you know, instead of sending a flyer saying, this is where we're putting them all, that should have been a meeting. They should have come to Parks and Recreation and said, listen, this is the plan, this is what we're doing, so that way they can address constituent concerns, as opposed to, you wake up in the morning and they're digging up the sidewalk because they're giving you a tree that you didn't ask for. I mean, in some instances, they do. They did ask, or these are people who requested trees, and I get that part, and that's fine. But sometimes, you know, from what I heard, is like they're gonna put them where they think trees are needed, and I'm like, well, let's discuss that a little bit more. Because where you think they're needed might not necessarily be in the best interest of you.
I think it's more of a focus to address climate change in communities of color. Pretty sure that's it.
Yeah, no, and this is not to say that, you know, again, you know, I love trees, you know, and there are definitely good reasons for putting up trees. I just think that there needs to be more community engagement before you start putting trees up in terms of
I think it's
addressing
fair
some
to
of the
ask
concerns.
about the care plan for the trees.
Absolutely.
But I think, you know, in the name of getting things done that are good, yeah, more trees, more good, but these are good questions to ask,
Absolutely.
of course.
And I think it's just important the conversation is had, and that's the main thing. We could come out of a conversation and I'm good with everything. Okay, sounds good, you answered all the questions. But we're not at that stage because they haven't answered anything, and all we know is they gave us a flyer saying this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And this is just a dynamic that I want to avoid with the city. I believe, my philosophy has always been, the district should always be consulted in terms of everything you're doing. Because we have certain things, we live on the ground. And there are realities that we understand that we should have questions answered before we just do that. They shouldn't just assume centrally and, you know, from the arsenal that, okay, you know, we need 500 trees. Okay, all right, thank you very much for that, informational purposes. I'm gonna have a very brief, chairman's report, and we're gonna move on. So, I just wanna make a reminder, there's a parliamentary procedure, workshop that is scheduled for tomorrow, I believe, correct? So that is, online to any members. Yeah, CEC is doing it, right? Yeah.
I think
Yeah, CEC is doing the parliamentary, so if anybody wishes to attend that, please, it's good information in terms of parliamentary procedure, how we operate. Yeah, so I just want to reiterate, I would like for the committees to continue working on community needs, community profiles, in terms of, I want to make sure that we fully understand, and we're having conversations about, from each of the respective program areas, from land use, from transportation, from parks, what are the specific needs? What are the needs that we have in the district? And there are specific needs that we want to see done. So we can start documenting that, so that way when we're having conversations with respect to land use and planning and how we grow as a community, we already have these things, and we've already kind of had the conversation, and we can inform the conversations in a meaningful way. So continue working on that. If I would ask, if you're meeting in December, please try and include that as part of your agenda. I would like to, yes, if you have it by January, I would love to have it by January, or even if it's in a draft form, that's fine, because that gives us an opportunity to work on something, refine that, so that way, again, we have these things ready to supplement our community statement of needs. Dante already talked about applications for for community boards. Brooke Hall said they started it early this year, and please remember, they are going to shut it on time. There is no extension. And I'll warn everyone now, it was a long application when I did mine 2 years ago, and I think it probably got longer.
Yes.
It probably got longer.
From 4 pages.
Yes.
So every 2 years you renew?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So, and I would say, even if it's not 2 years, I would just warn, I don't have the numbers in front of me. Even if you are here for a year, I would always check, confirm your status.
You can call us, we'll let you know. You should have received an email.
Yeah, you should have received, we all got one.
Okay. Yeah, you should have received one, but I would always say.
Yes, okay.
If you.
Not to renew.
Yeah, to renew.
To renew or?
To renew.
But you would know.
But my 2 years hasn't.
Well,
But not you.
well, what I'm saying is, if you don't need to renew, so in other words, if you did it last year, you're not on the list for this
Yeah,
year.
okay.
The only concern I have is, and I just warn, if you are new here, if you have 1 year, I would tell you to check.
Yes.
Only because in the past, we've had instances where people were a 1 year appointment, they were filling a slot.
They didn't know.
And
How
they didn't
many
know
do you
they were
have?
only filling a slot for a
Right.
year.
Right.
And that they needed to reapply for the full term.
Term.
So, but to the district manager's point, if you have any doubts, just check with them, they can confirm your status, and you should have an application for if you're good. Okay? And as I say that, I mean, please spread the word. I mean, if you know of any people who are working on our committees, we're just very interested in this district, and want to see it better, please encourage them to apply. If they have any questions, they can contact I don't want to go to the district office, but if they have any questions, please just let them know they can contact us, and we'll try and answer the questions to the best of our ability. Attendance. So I've already had a couple of responses from some of the chairs. If you have people who are not showing up, they're just names on a roster for you, let us know. We are going to start the process.
So she'll send an email?
Yes, keeping with the tree analogy, we are going to start pruning branches.
So, wait, how do they decide? I'm sorry, this is just, how do they decide?
That's
That's
part of the
That is
process.
the whole
That's why
plan.
we're asking them to talk to them.
Okay,
Because they
got it.
often make mistakes too.
Okay, yeah, cause
Yeah.
like, we had a
Well,
tree
well,
that's
well,
getting knocked down in
Well,
front of our building.
so let me do this. So let me just speak to that very quickly. Part of it is, some of it is coming from that people have asked for
I
trees.
would
For
imagine.
years, I know.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would imagine.
But it's not all of them. Some of them, the city has decided they think that, okay, well, we did a count of trees and we think a tree belongs to us. And notwithstanding, I think it's important that there's community conversation about if that's correct. So that's part of that. Okay, so attendance, remember, for all the chairs, please make sure you are checking your rosters. Send an email to the district manager and myself. Let me know if you have people who are not coming. We will take care of that. Yeah, and conversely, if you have people who are interested in serving as resident members, please let us know, and we can make sure they get the application, and we can get them on the committees as well. Last two items. One, December meetings. The district manager already spoke to this. We have this conversation every year. September through December is always crazy. The calendar never stays the same because of the religious observances and holidays and everything
We
else.
cancel December altogether?
No. Well, no, let me not say that. There are a number of committees that are not going to be meeting in December. By city charter, all committees are mandated to meet 5 times a year, 5 times for the year. Most of the committees have been very diligent, and I thank you all for that. In terms of you've already met, you are definitely going to meet the quota. If it's tough, I understand. November's tough, and December probably gets even tougher. If you don't have anything pressing on your agenda, please just communicate with the district office if you haven't spoken to them already. In terms of you can defer to meet in December and just pick it up in January, if it works for you.
If you wanna do that like tomorrow, that would be great.
I think, we meet on the
Update the
8th,
website
Yeah, but
today then.
December?
8th of December,
Okay.
applications.
Right, and I'm just saying is if you already have it scheduled, that's fine, if you, as long as you confirm that with the DM. If you decide that, listen, the agenda's light enough or we don't have anything pressing, we can defer until January, that's fine as well. Again, to the point, I know, this is the winter time, it gets darker faster and it gets colder. So,
We're probably gonna meet in December, to the point that we were saying earlier about looking at things holistically. We had a district-wide traffic plan that we were working on. And of course, all of the work we're doing now is responding to the plan DOT put in front of us. But we've had work on a district-wide traffic calming plan for a while now, and we're gonna probably wanna finalize that before January.
and I leave that to the discretion of the chairs, as long as you've had the conversation with the DM and the spot is set.
No,
That's
just
fine.
throwing that there in case folks don't know.
No, that's fine. No, thank you very much for that. All right, last piece. We've kind of hinted at it a little bit with realignments. So this is not an agenda item. This is not something that we're putting forward. But I think just from some of the good conversations we're having, our current lineup of committees has been set up forever, as far as I know. It is definitely present on the previous version of our bylaws, which is over 20 years old. So we've had this lineup, but I've had some good conversations with some very smart people on this board, and we're not committed to doing it. If we figure that there are better alignments in terms of we think that this function will be better served in another committee, that's fine. One of the conversations I've already put out is that I'm looking at, I would like for us to consider merging youth services and education and library. Because that makes more sense in terms of combining those two. There might be pieces where it's like, or we take off that library piece and maybe perhaps that goes to parks and recreation. There might be functions that we look at in terms of moving those from one committee to another. All the same, I think it's fair game. I'm really happy with the way this board has progressed over the last several years. And I really encourage, it's okay for us to think differently. We can look at different ways of doing things, try different things. Not everything is a winner, but I think we've also, in experimenting, I think we'll find a better way to serve and to experience this board and to serve this community. That is all I have. I don't have any action items. I will take questions. Any questions, Mr. Almanor? Elise?
Nothing. No, I could.
Linda? Good. Chairs? Any questions? All right. Okay, thank you very much. So we are now, all right, so we are now going to item number 5. We're going to set the agenda for the general board meeting. Okay, so we're going to have public session. Public session presentations. Dante, do we have anybody presenting? We have somebody?
No, Prospect Park needed to push back.
Okay. I had spoken with Assembly Member Chandler Waterman. I think she was saying she might want somebody to present. Did she speak to you?
She has
I'll present.
not,
If you want.
but I'll reach out to Steph.
All right. I would like for us to leave a placeholder because I think she might want about 10 minutes before it's done. So we're gonna leave a presentation, TBA, 10 minutes. Okay. Then we're gonna have SLA, OCM. We are going to be considering the application for I'm sorry. Where is it? Do you have the, oh, there it is, I'm writing on it. Yeah, WHP BK LLC at 259 Rogers Avenue. That's the New Liquor Wine Beer sign.
did two of those, right?
Yes, no, one, there's one,
Oh, one, come on, they.
one SLA, one was tabled.
Okay,
And then we have the OCM application, well,
Alright.
actually, we're not, there's no presentation, that's just gonna be a voting item.
okay,
Okay,
so just one of them.
yep, just one SLA application. Then we are going to go into public session, a public commentary, I'm sorry. Then we're going to go into acknowledgements. Then we're going to go into the business session. Open the roll call. We're gonna have the approval of the minutes. Then we are going to have, sorry? Yep, committee reports. During committee reports, did you want to discuss the transportation?
So, no, we done it.
No, during business session.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna put it down during committee reports, you can give that, to give the overview of that. Yep. Okay, actually, Melissa, I'm gonna put down, youth services since you have the voting item as well,
Okay.
so you present that as well.
For business,
Let me do this.
under business or under committee report?
Under committee
I'm
reports.
giving you a report.
So committee reports will have transportation and we'll have youth services. Look at those presentations. All right. After that, we will have the treasurer not giving no report this month, right? No. Okay. So we'll have the DM report. We'll have the chair's report.
Thank you.
Yep. Then we're gonna go to the voting session. Okay. So we have one SLA application. Two,
See it?
the OCM. Yep. Well, actually, we're gonna vote on those as a package.
Okay.
It's gonna be one package. OCMX. Then three, we have,
Melissa.
yep, we will have, youth services. Program. Four, we're gonna do transportation, okay?
Working on the review.
And we're voting on the plan, so, yeah. Okay.
Any other business?
Let me see. Was that all? Did I leave any voting items out for anybody? We're good? Okay. Then after that, we have no old business. Nothing was taken,
No,
correct?
no.
All right. New business.
And then,
Now, for new business, the reminder is this. New business is only items that we need to refer to a committee or if it's immediate. Okay? So we're not gonna take new things that we're gonna vote on last minute that we haven't vetted to a committee, so.
on to new business.
All right, then after new business, we will adjourn. Okay. Let's do this.
Remember
Time.
the thing, remind them of the thing, just working on
Okay,
this.
so the presentation, yes. Thank you. And the reminder, 6:30. The meeting is at 6:30.
6:30.
Yes.
6:30, and it's going to be at 161, PS
Crown Street.
161 on Crown Street.
No.
Okay.
Okay, let me repeat that as well. The meeting, please make sure you check your notices. The meeting is going to be Thursday, November 20th. Start time is at 6:30. Location is going to be at PS 161, 330 Crown Street, between Nostrand and New York Avenues, okay?
Just done what was done.
Yes, so please make sure that you check your calendars and you look at that as well. All right, timings again. So presentation, we're gonna do 10 minutes. SLA application, 3 minutes. 2 minutes? 3 minutes. 3 minutes for the SLA.
How many are there?
One.
One?
Yep.
Yeah,
Public commentary is gonna be 30.
as usual.
Acknowledgements, we're looking about 20.
That's usually 10.
People, okay?
Acknowledgements?
No, just like 5.
No,
No.
no, man, you.
It's similar.
No.
Yeah.
Man,
It's
they-
like
they-
20 minutes.
they get-
and then
yeah,
like
but
2
They get 2 minutes each.
Yeah, it's
So
like,
if it's
20
5
minutes.
people, that's
20
10.
minutes.
20,
that
yes.
depends on how.
It's never
It
20.
depends on who turned up.
It's never 20.
Well,
Sometimes.
sometimes be 30.
10.
No, 10 is too short.
10 is too short.
I think we should budget, if we can budget the 20, and I think we'll make it
Yes, I
back,
think-
but I would rather budget the 20.
That's fair.
All right, business session, roll call, approval of October minutes, committee reports, transportation. How long is your report gonna be?
4.5 minutes.
Oh, y'all trying to take my time now? I would say 10.
10?
What?
10 minutes!
Hey!
I am gonna get more questions than everybody else combined. 10.
I'd rather be real about it.
All right, and he put in the pants as a restaurant.
10
I mean,
minutes.
I would rather get less. I'd rather just have it flow through.
You
I mean, you
said-
can give me 3 if you want. I could if I gotta do.
I don't wanna make a lie out of my first vice chair.
Yeah.
How much you want? Forget
You,
it.
sir?
I think I can do this in under 4 minutes.
See?
5 minutes. You got
It's like
5
a thing
minutes.
that people
So
like.
if you get
I
4,
wanna be
you
like
get
you
extra.
are.
Yeah, it shouldn't be controversial.
DM report, how long?
What was my last?
It's usually 6 for each of you.
I think it was 4 last time.
Yeah,
you
can
five.
do
5 minutes each.
No,
5 minutes
You
each.
five.
That's fine.
Five
That's
minutes.
fine.
Good.
That's fine.
And you take 5.
Someone spoke there my last time. I went in for
You the one who said
Sure you would, sure you would.
it.
Okay.
It really was 4 for both of y'all.
All right, and voting sessions, okay, voting sessions, how long do we do for each one?
But by the time we get the voting sessions, we would have already.
It's usually like 3 minutes for each
Yeah,
one.
it is.
3?
Yeah, it's about that. You call it a roll. You know, it's usually about 3 at least, 3 to 5.
Okay, so 3 minutes, we'll put 3 minutes each.
For everybody.
I
Yep.
mean, if there's debate, it'll expand.
Transportation, you're gonna have 10 minutes already, so
So
it's just
you-
voting.
2.5.
For that, 3 or less.
3 minutes for how many?
You know what, I don't wanna play ourselves, 5 minutes for transportation.
That's what I'm saying.
5 minutes, just say 5 minutes for transportation.
Yeah, but even on the way you
All
get
right, new
the
business
voting,
and
you know
adjournment.
what.
Okay, so are there any items missing from this agenda?
Not to, at this point.
Chairs, did we capture all of your action items?
I think we did.
How
Okay.
many things are we voting on when you say 3 minutes?
I take it
One,
back.
two,
Yes.
three,
You sir,
So 3 minutes for.
economic development.
No.
They got a
Oh,
vote?
right.
Yes, economic development, they have that action.
Probably 3 more.
Yes.
But that's gonna be a real thing. That's
5 minutes,
That's about
12
right.
minutes for 4.
That's gonna be like a common consent.
Yeah, eco dev, yeah, so, okay. Economic development, yes.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
yes, she got it.
Okay, all right, so are there any other items that are missing?
I don't think so.
Okay, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adopt this agenda for the general board meeting on November 20. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a move by Mr. Almanor, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by, second vice chair Roberts. Okay, moved and seconded, is there any objection to adopting by common consent?
No.
Hearing no objection, this is the agenda approved for our general board meeting coming up. All right, is there any other business at this time for the executive committee?
No, so let's go.
Hearing none, I want to thank everyone for your time. We're going to stick to these, make sure everybody reads the materials, and we are adjourned. Madam Secretary, please, 9:53. Oh, I'm sorry.
8:53. Oh, wow.
That time flew. Wow.
See you on Thursday.
At least an hour less.
I'm early, 6 o'clock.
I know, I haven't.
All right, you survived
Said the
CB9.
newbie, said the newbie.
All right, you survived CB9.
It's right.
That's a lot of trees that they're going to put in this.
Somebody else did.
It looks a lot like it, but if you have a copy, you break it. Eastern Park.
I see a bunch on Eastern Park.
Yeah, but if you look at the look number, you will see like, it's got all the things down, like farm,
So-
right? So it starts at